Hi, my name is Anton. I'm a system developer at SVT, working with infrastructure. This talk is going to be about Molnet, our internal platform as a service that we built last fall, and we have been running it in production for about a year. Uh, so, I work at a department that is called SVT Interactive. And that is basically all SVT's online services, such as SVT Play, maybe the most popular, SVT Nyheter, the news site, Barnkanalen, it's like TV for kids, Bolibompa Draken also, very, very famous. And then some more services like sports and stuff. Uh, so at SVT Interactive, we are organized around products. So and we have grown quite a bit. So 6 years ago, we were only two teams and like two products, and I think they were about 20 people or something. And today we are on 150 people and divided into 17 teams. So it's quite clear that things that did work back in 2009 doesn't really work now. So about 1.5 years ago, we concluded that we needed to build a platform. So the reasons for this was, so we were pretty good at continuous deployment at that time. We did about we deployed to production about 4 times a week of all our systems. But the initial time to market was too high for new services. And in the old system, in the old architecture, we used this like monolithic platform. And since we want our teams, since we are now our 17 teams, we need to, the teams need to be more autonomous. And therefore, we decided to go from a monolithic platform to a microservice platform. And that means more services, apparently. So we need to optimize for speed in creating new services. We also wanted the platform to be self-service, since autonomous, we don't want to wait for a sysops team, etc., etc. So we decided, Heroku, yay, this is going to be great. Let's deploy all new services to Heroku. And it is really great. I mean, you can create a new service within minutes. It enforces the 12-factor app concept, which is really good. It's really easy to deploy as a git push that you're in production, and it's very easy to understand. But there are some non-optimal things as well. So it is still kind of hard to integrate services running on Heroku with our internal platform on site, because networking basically. So if we want to expose services that we have internally at SVT, we need to make them public. We need to make them available on the internet, and that is something you may not want to do all the time. Also on Heroku, everything is on the internet, so there's no like, at least at that time, there was no like private network for your services. And of course, there is also this platform lock-in factor. Maybe we don't want to have everything on Heroku after all. And they're also, since Heroku is running, they're running LXC on top of Amazon, so there's a quite high risk of having noisy neighbors, unless you give Heroku a lot of money. So this is kind of how we created our own internal platform as a service. Step 1, steal all good concepts and ideas from Heroku. Step 2, find a good name that will not confuse anyone, like Molnet. Step 3, make a logo. Step 4, buy stickers. Like this one. Yeah. So, as a user of Molnet, you interact with it using a command line interface we call Molnet CLI, and it's really easy to install. You just set up this bash alias thing. the only thing you need is a user account at ours that you should have if you work with SVT, and then you just run all commands over SSH, so you don't need to install anything. Except this. So this is like a fake terminal. Pretend that this is a demo. So you run Molnet, and you get this nice list of different things you can do. You can deploy apps, you can import, create stuff, inspect configuration. You can stream logs directly from the application, stuff, like all the basic stuff. Now, and this is a slightly awkward way of creating a new service because of this SSH magic. So you write moln import -app Anton/hi. So that means that we create a new app called Anton/hi. And then you give it this like JSON representation of your app. So the first thing, image, is a Docker image. Agents is like where you want to run your service. And then you can set up like a basic health check. So all of this is running as on virtual machines on top of VMware. So when we did this, we thought that teams should be responsible for their own agents. So if you're a team and want to deploy to Molnet, you ordered a bunch of VMs, and then you just like manually schedule your applications over these machines, if that makes sense. Yeah, so now we have my new app. I can deploy it using Molnet deploy. Yeah, and you get some status. It's waiting for containers to start, pulling image, blah, 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 setting up load balancers, and then it's done. And then you can just like run curl anton-hi.molnet.svt.se, and you will get your hello world response back. So we're using Heroku called this like deployment method pre-boot deploy, and it's basically we start up new containers, we wait until all the health checks pass, we move the traffic to the new containers, and then we kill the old ones. So it's like very simple. If you want to update something with your app, you can use the update command. So here, for example, we want to set the environment variable message to wow, and then just trigger a redeploy. So every time you update your application configuration, you will increment the version of that. And that's good because then you can roll back to older configurations and such. And if you can see the curl. Now it says hello, wow instead of hello. So this is if you interact with this is how you interact with Molnet using your terminal. But often you want to do these kinds of things in your deployment pipelines. So this is like how a typical deployment script looks in our setup. So it's just like Docker build, Docker push, and then you run the Molnet update command. It will update your service. Great. So this is a stack that we use to implement all of this. We are running Docker for containers. Surprise. We are using Spotify's orchestrator. I think they were on a talk some months ago called Helios, and it's a very, very simple orchestrator. We are using Console for service discovery, HR proxy for routing, and we have some custom glue stuff. The Moln CLI. We had one thing called Moln LB configurator that configured. It generated HR proxy configuration based on services in Console, but now we replace it with Console templates. That feels so great. And we also made a service discovery plugin for Helios called Helios Console. So Helios will register all deployed services into Console. Great. And then we have some other like monitoring stuff. We're using New Relic, Isinga, and Graphite for monitoring and metrics, and Heka, Kafka, and Elasticsearch for logging and events. Yes. So this is how everything fits together. So we have the Moln CLI that will, when you like create an application, when you deploy an application, the Molnet CLI will convert your application JSON thingy into an Helios job and send it to the Helios master. The Helios master will save like the desired state into Zookeeper, and then we have these agents. So on each Molnet agent, we're running Helios agent that talks to Zookeeper and tries to figure out what it's going to do, and then deploys stuff to Docker and registers the services to console. And then console template will generate HRPX configuration based on console, and everything will work, hopefully. Mm. Currently, we are running Ubuntu Trusty, but we will probably replace it with CentOS 7 because Ubuntu. Yeah. Some numbers. We are running about 100 services in Molnet. What else? Yeah, we are running 170 Docker containers. We have 50 Molnet agents. We have 3 Helios masters, a Zookeeper cluster of 3 nodes, and we are doing about 40 deployments per day. Wow. Yes, I count everything just to get good numbers. So this 100 services thing is like then. So since we are using this like Heroku model, so if you have a stage environment and a prod environment, test environment, blah blah blah, then you will get 1 service for each environment. Good. So this is some stuff that is running on Molnet, partially at least. The new SVT Sports site is depending on stuff running in Molnet, at least. So it gets like content and stuff from there. We have some like latest news widgets on SVT Nyheter. It's also talking to Molnet. We have some new recipe site. We have a lot of like internal video APIs running on this. And in the future, SVT Play will use these APIs, I think. And then we have some other tools like dashboards, random utilities, testing stuff. Yeah. So, what we have learned from all of this. First of all, this actually works. And we built the first version of Molnet. I think we built it in like 1 month. So, and since we chose really simple components, kind of. So yeah, we haven't had a single major incident on this, like that is related to the platform in 1 year. I think that's pretty cool. The Molnet CLI. We didn't thought of this from the beginning, but it's actually a pretty good way to create abstractions for the users. So let's say we want to like replace the scheduler, we can do that without updating deployment scripts and like telling anyone that we are done it. We can just do it. That's awesome. This concept of team agents is a bit tricky. So we don't really like this because it's not self-service. So teams needs to order VMs still. And also they have to do the manual scheduling, and that should work in theory, but it doesn't. I don't know why. The teams don't really care about their agents, I think, basically. And also, developers need to spend time learning Docker. So I think this is pretty easy. I mean, the deployment pipeline thing is pretty easy, but it's still much harder than using Heroku. I mean, you need to know how to create a Docker file. You need to do stuff with Docker, apt-get, whatever. And Heroku is just git push. So, yeah, soonish. Maybe we can create better tooling around this and like having a standard for how to create the service. Maybe later. So, Molnet 2.0, the next generation. The most requested feature is this slider. So on Heroku, you have the slider when you can scale the number of containers, basically. So this seems to be important. I don't know. So because in Helios, it's very hard to change the number of containers for a service. For some reason, they have limited that, so you cannot run multiple containers of the same service on the same host, and that's unfortunate if you're using like Node. So this will help for that, I think. We're also trying to remove the VMware layer and run the agents on bare metal. And yes, we also want to, and when we do that, that will probably mean that the teams do not have to care about the agents. We will just do it for them. It will be a part of the platform. So we are trying, right now we are trying to replace Helios with something more powerful. So we're trying out Mesos and Marathon right now. We will see how that works. But yeah, thank you for listening. Questions?